This is the artist loft where the rough cuts live, turning rent week stress into box office viz. From the cracked white walls to the stains on the floor, I frame this life till it look like more. This is the artist loft where the outtakes stay, make a whole new world from a hallway day. If the shot feel real, then the budget don't talk. All I need's one room, call it the artist loft. The artist loft. Call it the artist.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Artist Off Podcast. I am your host, James Fred, with Daelyte Media. Thank you for tuning in and thank you for watching. Today is just going to be kind of a sit back and talk type of episode. I don't have any guests. I just wanted to kind of talk to creators, especially beginning creators, people just starting out or looking to get into this, because I am on a journey and I got some things that I could probably help you out with. So let's get into it. Now, the first thing I wanted to talk about is, of course, some camera news. The Canon R6V, I guess they released some pre-production models and some creators have gotten their hands on them. And it's a phenomenal camera. Like we knew it was going to be. It is great. The footage coming out of it is, it looks really, really good. But to be honest, ain't that what we expected? I mean, for real. Like at this point, like what are we talking about? Cameras are good, right? You're gonna be hard pressed to find a bad camera right now. So, of course, we knew the camera was gonna be good. But in my previous podcast, I made the statement and I said the camera is useless. And it's the same thing that I said about the Canon R1 when it came out. And that's not saying that these cameras are bad cameras. Of course, they are great cameras. But in the space of tech and gear right now, were they really needed? And the answer to that is, of course not. But these companies know exactly what they're doing. Canon is the leader in knowing what their fan base wants and then giving them tidbits, knowing that they're going to go out and buy it. So you had the Canon R6 Mark III come out. You had the C50 that came out a few months ago. And again, two great cameras. The C50, was an interesting camera. I really looked at it, really thought about it. I haven't pulled the trigger on it, but it's a great camera. And now the R6V has come out, and it's a great camera also. But Canon knows and understands that their fan base is going to go out and buy this camera, even if they already have an R6 Mark III or a C50, because that's just what people do. And I think it's great marketing. And listen, it's a phenomenal camera. Now, if you're a beginner, it may not be the camera for you just because of its advanced features and things that you might not even know how to use yet. But then again, it might be, because all this is going to depend on use case. And I'll talk about more use case a little later in the video. But it's all going to be about use case and how you use the camera. So take that in mind. But yeah, the R6V is pretty much here. As I said, I'm on a journey, and it's the same journey that every person on this earth is on, and I am getting older. I will be 50 years old this year, like 50, half a century on this earth. And I've been creating content now for about, I guess it's been 9 years. And in those 9 years, I've learned a few things. And those things, I think, will help a lot of people who are trying to get into content creation right now. Now, first, let me say is I never started this to be a content creator. I started putting videos on YouTube as a platform to be able to send clients to see the kind of work that I could do. And that was my primary focus for it, because at the time, even though I was watching other people on YouTube trying to learn, it wasn't something I was really interested in. And I didn't even really know, income potential and all of that until later on. So that's just where I started at. And then, the pandemic hits a few years later, and like everybody else, I was stuck in the house and I started consuming more content. And my girlfriend at the time started making videos for YouTube. And I was just kind of like, okay. So I did. I started making, some videos that were purely for YouTube, but I really didn't know what I was doing. And that's one of the first things I've learned is that you've got to have some sort of a plan. Now, I'm not talking about planning out, all the videos and all the shoots and all of that. Sometimes that stuff can get in the way of you creating, but you at least need to know what it is you're going to be talking about. And I didn't. I had no clue what I was going to talk about. I really didn't think about talking about what I do because there was a bunch of other creators doing the same thing. I mean, these were people that I were watching. So I was like, so I don't need to do this too because they're already doing it. So I need to come up with something. So I was just coming up with different videos, man, trying to be creative and just making some stuff, making little funny stuff, little mini docs, just something like that. But still those videos weren't hitting. And so, like a lot of people, I just got discouraged and was like, you know what, forget it. I ain't gonna worry about it. Is whatever. So what I didn't know was that I was already doing what I could be talking about. And it took me a few years after to figure that part out. When I could just give my perspective on what it is that I'm already doing. And for a lot of new creators who are trying to figure out what niche to get into or what to do, that is just a great way to do it. Talk about what you already know. There are people out there that are looking to do what you do, want to know more about what you do, or want your perspective on it. So it's simple. Just talk about what you know. You don't have to make it difficult. You don't have to make it, this big uh, theatrical presence. Just turn your camera on and talk about the things that you already do and the things that you already know. That gives your content value. When I started doing that, I noticed an increase in, of course, subscriber count and views. Now, here's where YouTube can be funny sometimes. I had jumped up to like 2,500 subscribers, and I don't know what happened. I don't know, but I can remember logging in one day and it had dropped to like under 2,000. And then I looked at it like a few hours later, it was like under 1,300. And I'm like, dog, do these people hate me? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what's going on? Like, all of a sudden, ain't nobody watching, or all of a sudden, everybody's unsubscribing. To this day, I really don't know what that was about. I don't know what happened. But I've noticed over the years that it's happened a few different times. My subscriber count will start to go up, and then in like days, it'll drop 100, 200. So I don't know. Um, but what I started to notice about content creation is when I started talking about what I was already doing, I began to like it more, and it began to make sense to me. And so the content actually became a little easier to create. Now, the one thing that I never have done a lot, and that is just documenting the process. There's a lot of creators that I watch that have grown pretty substantially. And all they pretty much did was just document what they were doing. Some of them, were music videos directors, and they just shot behind the scenes vlog type stuff of them shooting music videos and saying, the camera and the lens that they were using and how they set up certain shots and things like that. Like content that just isn't that hard to make because they're already doing it. Like they're already at the shoot. All they have to do is take a little time out to talk to a camera and explain what's going on and all of that. So I did that a few times, didn't really get into it like I wanted to. But, over the years, I've learned that um, consistency matters, giving value to your content matters. But I think for me, the biggest thing that I've learned is just love what you do. And the reason why that's important is because if you don't love what you do, you're not going to do it. And I've seen a lot of creators fall off because they were making content to try and get monetized and to try to get the views and the likes so they could start making money. They didn't really like the content they were making. They just saw an opportunity and an avenue. And it didn't work out, and so they quit. The problem with that is that sometimes you quit right before you finna hit. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's one of the things that's kept me pushing is I don't want to stop doing this right before, you know what I'm saying, everything just kind of hits. And at the same time, I figure at this point, if I quit now, then it was useless doing any of that other stuff. So I might as well keep going. Like it doesn't take that much. I'm already set up to do it because of the work that I do. So for me, it's just do it, just get it done. Now I did mention consistency, and it is important. It's very important. But what's more important is what your consistency looks like, because a lot of times when we hear that word and we're listening to people say it, we're listening to them tell us we got to post a video once a day or at least 3 a week and all of that. And to be honest with me, it's definitely going to depend on the platform. And I'm speaking for me here because I've noticed, for instance, like on TikTok, if I post because TikTok's thing is you hear a lot of those people that are doing well there. Man, you got to post 5 to 10 videos a day, and get it. For me, I've noticed if I post 5 videos a day, after that third video, it's like the last two don't do anything, and that has been consistent. Like listen, I don't get thousands and thousands of views on videos anyway. So for me, um, I'll put out a video and get, 150 views. The second one, somewhere around the same thing. And the third one might only get 100 views. Then that fourth one gets like 50. The fifth one will get 20. You know what I'm saying? And I've noticed that consistently. And I don't know I don't know. So you have to figure out what your consistency is. Because for me, I'm thinking, okay, looking at this, I need to stick to around 2 to 3 videos a day. You feel me? So I don't need to do what they're talking about. Your consistency is going to depend on your schedule, the type of content you make, all of that. So if it's just 1 video a week, then as long as you're consistent with that 1 video a week, then you'll be consistent. And I feel like I'm saying consistent way too much here, but it's okay. Um, then maybe you can pick it up and move it to uh, 3 days a week, and then you might be able to post a video every day at some point. But again, it's going to depend on your schedule and how much time. But what you can't do is take what another creator is saying and then just say, okay, well then it's got to work for me. In the beginning, I did a lot of that. I was looking at people and telling myself that, all right, I got to do what he's doing because it's working. I see it working. And so I start creating that style of video, and then I look and it flops. I get no views, and it's like, okay, well, why is it working for him and not for me? Well, there's a bunch of, I mean, it's doing that because the air, the sky is blue. Whatever. I mean, there is no reason. What I'm saying, like it just happens. Now, of course, there are things you can do to make your videos more appealing, more clickable, get them to where the algorithm pushes it out and all of that. And that's cool. But, at the end of the day, there's just not a real formula for this. And I think the people that are on these social media platforms telling beginners, you got to follow this formula and you got to do this. And listen, it is great to have a structure. Don't get me wrong, that's not what I'm saying. It is great to have a structure, but that structure doesn't automatically equal success. So, although you want to structure out what you're doing, don't get into your head of saying, all right, as soon as I do this, everything is going to change, everything's going to blow up. Because when it doesn't, you're going to want to stop and you're going to think you failed. And I did that for a while. And I realized that what I was doing was setting myself up for failure, because I stopped making videos for a while, or I would just drop one like maybe once a month or here and there. And just because I was like, what's the point? Like, what's the real point? And I'm gonna tell y'all what changed it for me was I did a couple of TikTok lives, just you know what I'm saying, for something to do. And I looked and I had made 36 cents. And I was excited, right? I was like, oh man. So in my head, this is just how I think. I'm like, well, if I made 36 cents, what's stopping me from making 3,600? You know what I'm saying? Because obviously it pays, because 36 cents is money. So, I have not gotten to 3,600. Matter of fact, I'm still at 36 cents, but I'm still putting content out and I'm still doing it because I've just learned to love it. But setting yourself up to think that success is automatic because of chasing a formula is just not the way to go. You'll find yourself disappointed, then you'll quit and you won't do it. Even though you love it, you'll just feel like it's not worth it. Like, why am I doing it and nobody's watching and nobody's paying attention? Well, somebody is. If you post a video and you get 3 views, then that's 3 people that just got your input on something. And you post another video and it's 4 people. Post another video, it might be one. The only person that watched it was your mama. That's okay. She now has your input on whatever it is that you were talking about. And whoever watches your content deserves what it is that you're giving them. So just keep doing it. At this point, I like creating just because I like it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that if I start getting paid from it, I'm not good. No. If that happens one day, great. But I'm no longer chasing that. So for me, it's just trying to put out content that either inspires, educates, or entertains people. And that's just my goal. So whether I put out something that's a little funny, or I've got a tutorial that I want to do, or I shoot a little short film that just makes people feel something, then that's just what I do. And it's also still a place where I put content to send potential clients to see what I can do. So I've just incorporated all of that into it. And if you're coming into this, use these social media platforms to your advantage. When I started, um, I wasn't on TikTok at all. I still haven't gotten the Snapchat. I do have a Snapchat account, but I don't. Every time I post something on it, I don't know what happens. The thing ends up getting posted like 10 times. I don't know. Snapchat is difficult. I ain't been able to figure it out yet. But use these social media platforms to your advantage. Like, a lot of y'all already have a lot of followers. They're your friends and people you go to school with and all of that stuff, your coworkers. Use that stuff to your advantage and put out some content. but put out the content that you know your base is going to like. So I know what people that watch me want to see. I know what they like to see. And so I try to put out more of that type of content. Now, it's not the only type of content, but I try to put out more of what I know people want to watch. I know for me, vlogging is just not something that people watch on my channel or any of my social media. They don't want to see me vlog. They don't care anything about me at all. They want to know what camera is this, how to do this type of color grading, how to do this effect, how to set up this light. Like, those are the things they want to see from me. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that now. At first, I wasn't, because tutorials and things like that was never really what I wanted to get into because they're boring. And I just didn't want to do it. But I noticed that those are the type of videos that people watch. So I got to do tutorials. So, you know what I'm saying? So just kind of making sure that I'm creating the content that I know people want to see. You have to make sure that you are creating content that your followers are into. You don't want to just, you want to do stuff that you want to do, right? But you also have to do stuff that your followers want to see. And a lot of times that can be the same stuff that you want to do. But there are some times when you might say, you know what? I don't really want to do tutorial stuff. I just want to do gear reviews. Well, if a lot of my followers have been coming to learn something, and now all they seeing is me hyping up the next new camera, then they're probably gonna stop watching. So you have to take all of that into consideration when you're doing it, man, and just kind of keep pushing, keep trucking along, and keep making sure that you're creating the content that first you love, and then second, that the algorithm loves. So I just wanted to jump on here and talk for a minute. Like I say, there was no real agenda. Just kind of wanted to lay out some things that I had been thinking about as I continue my journey. I am still going to be creating content. I'm still going to be pushing, and I encourage you guys to do the same. I appreciate you watching this episode of the Artist Loft. If you have not already, please hit that like button for me and go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you like this type of content. Of course, this podcast isn't the only thing that's on the channel. There's short films, tutorials, all that great stuff. So go ahead and subscribe, man, if you like that type of stuff. And do me a favor, jump down in the comments and let me know, are you a beginner, just getting into content creation, or are you seasoned? And just let me know, man, what it is that you love about doing this. I really want to know. I genuinely want to know, all right? So I appreciate you guys turning in. This has been the Artist Loft Podcast. Again, I am James Fred with Daelyte Media, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.
This is the Artist Loft, where the rough cuts live, turning rent week stress into box office viz. From the cracked white walls to the stains on the floor, I frame this life till it look like more. This is the Artist Loft, where the outtakes stay, make a whole new world from a hallway day. If the shot feel real, then the budget don't talk. All I need's one room, call it the Artist